Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel and to another canoe camping adventure up here in Scotland. So at the moment we are camped on the banks of Loch Arkaig. We got here this morning after spending last night camped on the banks of Loch Lochy. We couldn't get the boat out yesterday because it was a bit late by the time we arrived here, but today we've had a great paddle. The conditions for most of the day were just mirror flat, perfect paddling conditions. By the time we got down yon end of the loch, we did encounter a bit of a headwind. It was a little choppy. We couldn't find anywhere to camp, so we turned round and we came back to this spot which we saw earlier on. I've got the one Tigris rock tent set up there. We do have the Winterwell fast fault titanium stove in there. I'm just waiting for the temperature to drop enough so I can get that on. It's been really mild since we've got here actually. I woke up at about 2 AM last night. I was just sweating. Got into the sleeping bag with a fleece on. It was just way too warm. It's just really bizarre mild conditions. There's flies out and everything, and so yeah, hopefully over the next 2 days though the temperature will drop so we can really make use of the hot tent, but we'll just have to wait and see. But I think it's about 4:30 now that we're starting to lose some light, so we'll just hunker down shortly. Morning everyone, it's about 9 o'clock. It's a pretty miserable day out there. The clouds are lying pretty low over the hills. You might be picking up a bit of noise from the wood burner. This stove's just this side of the camera and it's on full swing at the moment. But we used quite a bit of wood last night. I brought a massive bag with us and we haven't got much of it left. But last night it was really cold, the clouds cleared, we had a beautiful clear sky. It's almost a full moon and we saw, I'm not sure if it was a shooting star or a meteorite. It was just an orange line came shooting across the sky, so that was pretty interesting to watch. And yesterday on the paddle in here we're pretty convinced that we saw a pair of eagles. We were just paddling up this side of the shore, which is if you're looking on the map, it is the south shore, and it's all ancient woodland along this shore, and the road runs along the other shore. And just from out of the top of a tree flew a bird, and its wingspan must have been 5.5 to 6 foot at least. It was huge, and it had a huge white triangle tail. And it kind of just flew in front of the canoe for a while, so we got a really good look at it. And even as it flew down the valley, you know, have you seen Game of Thrones when the dragons are flying? It looked like that. It was unbelievable. Really large bird. And then as we paddled further down, you know, there was 2 of them, and they both flew off, equally the same size. So I just wonder if there's, you know, kind of nesting eagles around here. So by the time you're watching this, I'll have done a bit of an internet search to see if there are any nesting eagles around. So I'll let you know underneath if there are, or if there is any evidence. And on the way back up, we were also pretty convinced we saw a baby eagle. Again, it flew right over the canoe and landed in a tree, and we stopped. I tried to get some footage, but it was difficult. But this wasn't a bird of prey that I've seen before. It wasn't as big as the other 2, but we think it might have been a young eagle, but we'll have a look online and I'll let you know. But at the moment we're just drying out bits and bobs. I've got my pillow cover here, which it's all getting a bit damp, to be honest. The tent, because of the material, it does tend to, you know, pick up some moisture in certain areas, especially around where you've been sleeping. It's soaking here and my head was about here, so it's just, yeah, but it's not a major issue. So we're starting to pack up now. On my last video, when I was reviewing this little stove, I was having a bit of difficulty getting the pipes apart. And I think the trick is not to be tempted to twist them. You just need to kind of pull them in a kind of linear fashion like that, and they tend to come out a lot easier. So yeah, we're gonna pack the wood burner up, get the tent down. It's pretty calm on the loch, but it's cloudy, so we're gonna head over to that shore and just follow the shoreline up. Hopefully we'll be able to find the truck and restock some wood, food and wine, you know, the important things. And then we're going to head back down and see if we can find somewhere to camp on this side of the shore. The wind is due to pick up a bit tomorrow, so I don't want to have to do a crossing, just in case it is a bit rough, you know. I'd rather be safe than sorry. So yeah, that's us done for this camp. Beautiful little location though. So as we're paddling down the loch, we're trying to find the car basically. When we set off yesterday, we made a mental note of where the truck was parked. It was underneath a big hill with a forest underneath it. But if I just give you a look around, can't see any hills, can't see any forests. So we're just heading down the shore. I mean, you can see there's just not a lot of visibility, so we're just staying about 20 metres away from the shore, and hopefully we'll find the truck. We've got some lunch on the go, just a couple of Wayfarer meals, chicken curry and rice I think, or chicken curry and potato, so we'll have those and then we'll just continue into the misty abyss of Loch Arkaig. So we finally found the truck. I just noticed that Trish was going to paddle past. I was like, there it is. Oh, it's absolutely freezing. This fog is ridiculous. So I think we'll just beach here and set the tent up, I think. So we've got the canoe there, and we've got the hot tent set up there, and the car is just over there actually, so not too far to go and stock up on the old beers. But that was a bit of a dodgy paddle up here. I mean, you can see there the mist of doom, the fog of death really came in quickly towards the end of the paddle, and it's really cold in the fog as well. I had to pull over and get some more warm stuff on. I had to get this smock on, which I've waxed up properly before we left, so it'll help keep the cold wind out and help retain some heat. I had to put my woolly hat on and me winter gloves as well. It was that cold. The paddling, it's not as intense enough to really build up any kind of body heat, I find. But once I put the tent up, I started to warm up a bit. But that fog, it was weird paddling in it. When I was looking to the right hand side, you just can imagine not having any bearings at all if you were to lose sight of the land. I mean, we just kept the shore to our left hand side all the time. We paddled about 20 metres off, hit a few rocks as well, but you know, that's going to happen when you stick close to the shore. but I just didn't fancy wandering off into that mist. There's virtually no wind as well, which is probably why the mist's lying like this. But I wouldn't like to be set off course and just paddling around trying to find me bearings in this type of stuff. Really dangerous. And if you had an accident, of course, I mean, no one can see you. You're just gonna, you know, kind of, you'll just meet a watery end, so to speak. But yeah, on a lighter note, this beer is nice. But yeah, not really sure what we're going to do next. We might actually just spend the day here tomorrow and just chill out and just relax a bit and, you know, sit in the tent, get the fire on, do a bit of reading, do a bit of cooking, a bit of paddling if the fog of doom disappears, and then, you know, perhaps the day after we'll load the truck up and move on. Maybe head north to my favourite place, Glen Affric perhaps. We'll have to see. So we managed to pitch the tent on this shingle beach. I did bring some rock pegs with me, which I've managed to get into the shingle easy enough to pitch the tent. I've got that. I'll just show you how we've got the flue attached. I don't know if you can see that. I've got a line coming off down to that oak tree, and then another line that comes down here and just attaches to that peg, and that keeps the flue straight. And in here I think we might find Tris knocking up a G&T with a sparkly bottle of gin. Look at that, thing glows in the dark. So yeah, this is how we've got it set up. We've got a bed here for Tris. These are just those cheap high gear folding beds, but they're bulky but they're comfortable enough. And there's a good area for storage here. Those IKEA bags are useful because you can just dump your clothes in there on the night. And the wood burner, as you can see, there's plenty of room to get the burner in, get your equipment in as well, and a couple of beds. And I mean, there's room under the beds. You can see here there's some more space either side, and there's plenty of space behind the burner as well. Got a good stash of wood there. That gin bottle is crazy, isn't it? It's just got a light on the bottom of it or something. A light on the bottom of it, and a button. And a button that you turn on and it lights up. Oh, what a time to be alive. And there's the flue exit there. I'll have to just open that vent at some point. But yeah, that's the One Tigris Rock Fortress set up for two there with the burner in. So that's the inside of the tent. There's plenty of room for two people, a wood burner and all your gear. You could probably squeeze a third person in there. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the tent so far. We can put it up now in about 10 minutes. Tris just goes inside, holds the centre pole up, and then I'll just peg it out. So if there's two people, it's a pretty simple job. I found it a little bit tricky to put up on my own. But yeah, other than that, I think it's great. The only downside is it does pick up loads of condensation. The tent can be bone dry on the outside, but there'll be water running down the inside, which is, you know, you would expect that really with just a single skin tent. There is plenty of ventilation, mind you can open the doors and stuff if you wish, which would probably help with the issue, but perhaps that might let a bit of this cold air in that we've got up here at the moment. But yeah, other than that, great tent, really enjoying it. Plenty of room for us too, no problems at all. So I think I'm going to dive in there now and finish this beer and then think about getting the fire on, because the dark's coming in and it's pretty cold in this fog. just got a brew on, so I'm just going to pour coffee number 2 of the day. What I'm using to brew coffee with on this trip is just the Trangia unit with the little GSI kettle. I'll just fill it full of water, boil it, put the coffee in, and then pour it through this strainer. It works pretty well. You get a lovely coffee. I don't really use the kettle for anything else apart from coffee, so it's a waste of time bringing along like a cafetiere or anything like that. You just kind of strain it out and get a lovely brew. So we're just cooking up lunch on the Trangia stove. But the sun's beginning to break through the fog now, so we might get a bit of sunshine this afternoon, hopefully. It'll help dry out the tent. We've just left the door open. We're just trying to get some airflow through to get rid of some of the condensation and hopefully dry the sleeping bags off a bit. But I'm just going to cook up this bacon, have some eggs, and Trish is in the tent preparing a side salad, and that'll be lunch. And then this evening we're gonna cook a Spanish style stew on the wood burner. So I watched a film last night in the tent that I downloaded on my phone. It was called Everest Death Zone. It's pretty interesting actually. It was about a group of Sherpas who'd climbed up to the base camp on Everest to clean up rubbish, and they were showing the amount of mess that's up on Mount Everest these days. I mean, because thousands of people climb it every year, don't they? And apparently none of them take their rubbish back with them. So there was just an absolute dump, almost like just a landfill site. And as you go up to the camps nearer the summit, there's just piles of old oxygen air tanks and just rubbish everywhere. Not only like, kind of household waste, but there was body parts. Like one Sherpa was saying, he kind of woke up in the morning and opened his tent and there was just like someone's head there, and then there's just hands and bits of people's legs and arms, and it's just bizarre. And apparently the whole area up there is just polluted. They drink the Sherpas drink the ice, they melt it and use it for tea and for cooking in, and they get sick all the time because of these, well, not only like body parts and all the rubbish, but all the human waste, feces and that just builds up because people just dig a toilet in the snow. And obviously when there's thousands and thousands of people, over time the area just it's just become a dump. So that's what the film was about, and it was a bit of an eye-opener for me. I didn't think scruffy campers dirty campers were even halfway up Everest, but apparently so. But they also recovered 2 dead bodies from there as well. Some Russian guy he just died about 12 foot away from his tent of exhaustion, couldn't make it back into his tent, and he'd previously summited Everest without oxygen, and then he died. 44-year-old. And then there was some other guy that were recovering from there as well. They have to kind of strap them on a helicopter and then just like bring him out. Bizarre. I was watching it thinking it's not something that I'd be interested in doing. I mean, it might be clever telling people you've climbed Everest and that, but couldn't be bothered. lovely and clear now. I'll just turn the canoe around and you'll get to see behind. There's a fair amount of frost on the hills behind there. Oh, it looks beautiful there as well. Probably can't make it out, but on those hills there, there's obviously a fair amount of frost come through on the night. But this hill here, we're kind of parked underneath it, and that's what we were really struggling to find yesterday. Paddling up in the fog, we were like, where the hell is that hill? I'm using a new paddle that I bought. It's a Grey Owl Sugar Island, probably more suited to white water than flat water. I'll just show you the shape of it there. Nice wide blade. Now I found that my usual paddle, which is like a beaver tail shape, sometimes I feel like I need a bit more grab in the water when the canoe's heavy, especially when it's rough. You know, I just feel like I need a bit more surface area just to kind of keep the canoe straight, you know, do the pry strokes or whatever. I mean, it's not a great paddle to paddle, you know, for hours on end, which I actually found out yesterday because I was a bit tired in the shoulders. But it's a good paddle to use on your own when you're doing the J stroke, every single stroke. Just got a nice surface area to keep the boat straight. Seems to be a little fire on the shore ahead. I wonder if there's a wild camper up there. I might have a dodge up, see if I can have a conversation. I haven't spoken to anyone apart from Tris for like 3 days now. That was a good paddle. Well folks, that's the canoeing done for Loch Arkaig. I'm going to get the boat on top of the car and tie it down in a moment, but we're just doing a few jobs while there's still some light. We're going to cook up a stew, and I've been using this. It's a 4.5 litre Trangia billy can. I bought this just before we left. I got it online for about, I think it was about £21. I thought that's not bad for a pot this size. It's aluminium, so it's lightweight, and the Trangia 25 series actually fits in there, so it's quite a compact pot. I don't think I'll ever use it on the Trangia burner though. I think it's just a little bit too big. You probably go through a cartridge of gas trying to cook a stew on the Trangia burner, but it works brilliantly on top of the wood burner. So we're going to cook up a stew tonight, so I'll show you what's going to go into it. So while I've been out enjoying myself in the canoe, Tris has been prepping the dinner. So what we've got here is some chorizo de leon, Spanish chorizo, a tin of chickpeas, some green beans and broccoli, garlic, some diced potato, and we've got the chopped onion and garlic in there, sun-dried tomato halves and some butter, and we'll chuck all that in the pot and cook ourselves up a nice rustic stew. So the jobs are almost done for this evening. I'm just cutting down some of these hazel chunks, which they're a bit big and they're not fully seasoned, so they don't burn very well when they're this size. But there's no tree stumps around here to use as a chopping block, so I've got to chop on boulders, which is never a good idea. That's why I've brought an old axe with me, because one missed swing and you can take a chunk out of your blade. So I wouldn't recommend doing this with a nice Grants Force Brook axe or something like that. You're better off just using something that you don't care too much about. I've got this little Helco Verk Black Forest hatchet, which I've had for a while. Don't care much for it. It's a pretty naff axe. They come so blunt, it's almost unbelievable. I've got sharper butter knives in my kitchen drawer, but it's perfect for a job like this. I'll just give you a look at the amount of wood that we've got cut here. So there's a good bag full there, and some kindling at the front of the stove, and hopefully that'll keep us going for around 6 hours, and maybe have a little bit left over for in the morning. So all the work's done. It's been pretty tiring. It's time for a beer. Got a couple I'm going to try tonight, two I haven't had before. This is a Gypsy Hill Inbound Cold IPA 5%, and the other one, this is a Ridgeside Thicket Bramble Sour 4.5%. I haven't had any of these before, so I might only get just give you a review of this one because it's getting dark. Pretty sharpish. Fruity on the nose. Fruity on the nose. So who's this Gypsy Hill Brew? Brewing a Better Life. www.gypsyhillbrew.com. Never heard of them before, but can looks nice. Beer smells fruity. Oh, that is a tasty one. Oh, that's lovely, that. Oh, yeah, that's good, that. Lovely depth of flavour. It's got plenty of schnazzle dazzle. A little bit of schnizzle dizzle. Yeah, beautiful. I definitely recommend that. But oh yeah, man. Tough couple of hours there getting everything sorted. I had to get the canoe back onto the truck, chop the wood, tidy the tent a little bit and move my bed around. I was a bit too near the side of the tent last night, so I've kind of pulled my bed down, stacked the wood, got the coffee ready for the morning. Our food's all chopped. Yeah, so actually Trish as well, she prepared the next 3 days' meals and put them in dry bags in the back of the truck for the next part of the trip. I've just let out a huge burp there, which I'll edit out. Trish will never let us publish a video with a massive monster of a belch in there. But she's just standing over there laughing at us. It's fizzy beer. So the fire's on. Got a bit of kindling in there, a few larger chunks of my substandard hazel, and then we've just put the Trangia billy can on there with a bit of butter in, and then Trish is going to fry up the onions and garlic, and then we'll get the rest of the stew on the go.
Yeah, dude, cheers. So what do you think of that bramble sour?
Actually, once you start drinking it, it's alright. There's just one piece of tomato in there. Right folks, we think the stew is done. Trish, let's have a look. I'll get the lens out of the way so it doesn't steam up. at that. I would describe that as rustic. Proper old school cooking. Just a bit of meat and a bit of veg. Morning everyone, and what a fine morning it is here on the banks of Loch Arkaig. Pretty chilly, but we had a lovely warm night in the tent last night. Although we did notice this morning there's a few burn holes appeared. Obviously the spark arrestor isn't that effective, but it is what it is, I suppose. I'll just have to tape them up. The interests were joking this morning, said in a couple of years time the top of that tent will just be a massive tape. But yeah. So today we're actually in the process of packing up now. It's about 9 o'clock and we're gonna load everything into the truck. We're gonna drive down to the end of this road on Loch Arkaig. You get to a car park called Clunes. Some of you may have heard of it, it's a popular camping place as well. But we get a 4G signal there, so we can just have a look at the weather and see what else has happened in terms of restrictions or anything like that, because we have no idea. We haven't, you know, we're just unplugged out here and it's been 4 nights. Yeah, so we'll do that, and then I think we're likely to head on towards Glen Affric if the weather up there is good, and we'll spend the next 3 nights up there. I've actually enjoyed just keeping the tent in one place for a couple of nights and just relaxing and chilling out. You don't get a lot of daylight hours, so you know, having to take everything down and load the canoe and then put it all up again later on, you know, you feel like you're always running out of time. Yeah, I'm just going to finish this brew now and we'll crack on and get everything loaded into the car.